a risotto is made to perfection, it truly can be delicious. And there's just a couple of rules that you need to follow. This is one of those dishes that, is a very traditional Italian recipe, but for me, it's one of those everyday meals that are quite simple to do. You can make it when you come home and serve it to the whole family. So, number one, nice hot pan to start with, and I've just put a good glug of olive oil in there. One small onion, and we're just going to finely dice that. And the number one rule, we don't want to cook these onions, so I don't want to give it too much colour. Instead, we just want to sweat them until they're nice and soft. So, into the oil, and 2 cloves of garlic. Just a light press down on that. Just makes it easier chopping. And in that goes. So we keep an eye on this. This should take, about 5-10 minutes at least. Give it a little bit of time just so that crunch is gone from the onions. So I've got about 400 grams here of arborio rice, and that's plenty to feed a big family here. So in it goes, and this is the second crucial part of a risotto, if you like. We want to make sure that we coat that in that olive oil and the onions, and just let that toast off a bit until it just goes slightly translucent. Another thing is, you don't want to cook your risotto in a pot because the sides are too high. You want something that's like this, and a good non-stick means that you won't have to stir the risotto as much. This is the stage where we add the white wine, and you can use vermouth. It's fantastic with this recipe, but white wine, you'll really taste it through it. Big sizzle there. We'll turn that completely down. That'll cook off, and look, straight away, it's absorbed that entirely. So I've got some nice hot chicken stock here. You can use vegetable or veal if you like, and you do have to make sure that it is nice and warm. So even have a pot on the stove ready to go. I'm just making it nice and easier here by putting in a jug. So a little bit at a time. And then we just let it tick over, just cook slowly. Every time you see that there's hardly any of that liquid left, we start adding a little bit more. And this will take around 15 to 20 minutes. Of course, keep an eye on it. You can see it's just bubbling away, so just give it a quick shake in the pan, a little stir. But apart from that, it's looking very good. And that gives me just enough time before that's finished to make a lovely pesto to go with this. So the easiest way to do this is in a food processor. Traditionally, in Genoa and Liguria region of Italy, they would pound this in a mortar and pestle, but I want to do this as fast as possible, so the food processor it is. So I've got some really fresh basil here, and I love basil so much. I've got almost a whole bunch of basil here. I've used some of the stalks. It's not a problem at all. The food processor is going to do its wonderful job by blitzing this into a nice fine puree. So in it goes. And I've got some pine nuts here, of course, very traditional in this pesto, and I've just toasted them lightly until they're golden brown. In they go. A good amount of freshly grated Parmesan cheese and 2 small cloves of garlic. Instead of just putting them in whole, I just like to finely grate them. I don't want any chunks in here. I want it to be nice and fine. A good glug of extra virgin olive oil, and use a good quality oil here because, again, you'll taste it throughout the dish. And, of course, a really good pinch of salt. Right, that's it. That's basic pesto. Give it a good blitz until it's nice and fine. Okay, so let's do a taste of this pesto. Make sure those flavours are right. Oh, there's nothing like fresh pesto. Really is just special. And the only thing I think it needs is just a touch of lemon, just to balance it all out. Just give it just a touch of acidity. So a little squeeze. Just going to blitz that, and then it's almost ready to come together. Great. So the pesto is ready. Let's finish off this risotto. I've just turned it off. It's absorbed all of that liquid. And risotto is not risotto with a little bit of butter to finish it off, and of course some Parmesan cheese. So, you want about 25 grams of butter. And when I talk about the rules of risotto, just simple things to follow, this is one thing. Turn the heat off, because as soon as you put that Parmesan cheese, you want it to fold in just so it's glossy. All right, and what I like to do is simply pop it in the middle and just gently fold that in. And look, when I've got the whole family over for dinner, I would simply serve that in the pan, middle of the table, perfect for everyone. Or, get a nice shallow plate like this and a generous amount of this. And when sometimes you want to give your body a break from having too much meat, then this is a perfect option. And look, I love the pesto so much. So what I do, just that last amount in here, a big dollop on top, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, just a little bit of extra. And just to finish it off, because you've got some good extra virgin olive oil, just to echo those flavours through it, just a touch on the top. And that's ready. The most important rule with risotto is make sure that you eat it straight away, because it won't last. It has to be eaten nice and hot like this. Oh, exactly the way it should be.